Yeah. I saw that. When it's looking at it, this, no, it's that part of the start of the administration.
Okay, Commissioners, we're moving to item number 18. It's an application for certificate of appropriateness in the Borough of Manhattan, docket number 166866, block 1120, lot 14, 27 West 67th Street, located within the Upper West Side, Central Park West Historic District. An Art Nouveau arts and crafts style studio building designed by Simonson and Sturgis and built in 1902-03. Application is to replace windows.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Caroline Passion, Preservation Staff. The subject property is located at the north side of the street, mid-block between Central Park West and Columbus Avenue.
I know.
This is some historic photographs showing the subject property here, and some historic photographs also showing the original multi-light casement windows
I
of
don't.
the building. So the applicant is here to propose the removal of special windows from the 9th and 10th floors of the front and rear facades. These special windows consist of these 6 leaded glass diamond pane windows that you see here at the front facade. And then at the rear facade, to remove one stained glass window, and which is not visible from a public thoroughfare. So the architect, Adam Frampton of Only If Architecture, is here to discuss this proposal in more detail.
Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, Commissioners, for hearing this application for the proposed work. As mentioned, we would like to replace 6 windows on the south facade facing West 67th Street, and 1 window on the north facade, which is not visible from any of the points shown here, indicated in arrows in these images. The building itself is a Art Nouveau and arts and crafts style building, originally intended as a co-op studio building for artists, constructed in 1903 by Simonson and Sturgis architects. These photographs document the historic condition, multi-pane casement windows on the south facade, and 2 enlargements here showing where the work will happen on the 9th and 10th floor. We also enlarged, this is actually the location of the proposed replacement, at the bottom image here, and we also showed on the other side of the building, because it shows the division a little bit more clearly, and we assume it to be symmetrical with the area where we are replacing windows on the south. This is the building shown at street level from a 1903 architectural record article. Again, these are not the windows proposed to be replaced, but the photographs show quite clearly the wood multi-pane casement. In addition, we are proposing to replace a window in the north here. No historic photos exist of this window. However, we do have 1 image of the rear window in the rear west unit. So again, we're working in the front west unit. And here you can see it's a 2-pane casement window with an articulated arched opening. This is what we know about the back facade. In addition, there's a drawing that exists from the building showing 2 intermediate vertical divisions, or 3 panes of 3 divisions in the back here. And this is the existing condition. Shown from the street, the current 6 windows in the south are all mixed in terms of their type and pattern, and sort of present a patchwork appearance from the street. This is seen from the inside. As mentioned, we're replacing all of these, but the 2 windows here, because they are leaded lights, are the windows in question today. The proposed work, I don't know if it's very easy to see in this image on the projector, before and after. And again, I think this image is maybe more easy to read in the report that you have in front of you. However, you can see that what we would like to do is to have all of the windows as based on what we know from the historical condition, multi-pane casement with wood. 12 divisions per pane on these 3 windows here, here, and here, and 8 divisions per casement on the remaining 3 windows here, again, based on those historic photos. So before and after for the 2 windows in question on the south.
Can you just explain that? Can you explain that? So some of the windows are going to be more multi-light than the other, is that correct? And that's based on historic photos?
Exactly.
Okay.
The windows, so although these, the leaded light windows are not original, they are, as I understand, special windows. And so here we are matching in terms of color. It's actually a dark green. This is matching the color which has been previously approved by the LPC on other applications. And we're not disturbing the historic brickwork. It's a wood window, true divided lights with a very small mullion, about 1 inch to match what we believe was the historic condition. Sealant to match the color of the frame, etc. Now moving to the rear facade, this is the window we would like to replace in the back, not visible from the street. It's a stained glass window. And one important thing to note about this building is that actually each of the apartments is a duplex apartment, and it was originally intended for artists. Originally in the historic designation report, it's mentioned that in fact this is one of the most important features of the whole building, was in fact unimpeded northern light coming into the duplex space. It's worth noting that the current owner is an artist, a practicing artist, and would like to replace the rear window, in fact, to recreate the historic light and environment that was there before. So this window, we don't know exactly when it was installed, but we do believe it's not original. And it's also worth noting that the current window has a kind of infilled arch, whereas we believe the historic condition had a kind of articulated arch. And so our proposed replacement is this is current condition proposed. We're proposing 3 divisions here. Again, I think none of the windows on the rear are in fact original. And as I mentioned, what we know is that there were 3 divisions and a kind of arched opening, so that's what we're trying to do here. We have a operable window here to access the fire escape for egress. The new operable area achieves about 5% of the floor area for the current requirements about ventilation. And then we have 2 fixed panes next to it. The window itself is actually a thermally broken steel profile, and the color is a dark brown to match the information from the building architect and what's in the alteration agreement, presumably part of the plan for all future replacement of rear windows. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Questions for the applicant? Any questions?
So is there a master plan for the entire building, or are these the first windows?
There's no master plan from LPC. No, there is not.
But you are returning them to original condition, I mean, original
The historic
Correct.
condition.
historical.
And following the recent replacements of other windows as well.
And the other windows that were recently replaced also went back to the historical in terms of, no?
Correct.
Are there any other leaded diamond windows on the front?
These are the only 2 leaded diamond windows.
Yeah.
So they're quite exceptional in the.
Can you look at the elevation photograph? Let's say one of those. Is there glass or masonry above the flat part of the window and underneath the arch? Is it solid? In all of the cases, that looks like it's solid, right? In other words, it's not glazed all the way to the underside of the arch.
This is on the south.
I know.
And yeah, it is here. It's kind of infilled. I mean, you can see actually this window.
No, that's not arched, but the ones that are arched. I'm trying to get to the point of whether or not glazing goes to the full underside of the arch or whether gets, it's a horizontal line that's filled with masonry or other infill, in all cases.
In our case, on here, currently none of them are arched, and none of our replacement windows are proposed to be arched.
But the back window is arched.
Correct, exactly.
That's why I'm
So the
asking.
back window currently has infill above.
So the
above
infill is typical.
The infill is not typical and not historical.
On the back, he was showing others that are not filled in.
What? They're glazed all the way?
Yeah,
Aha.
on the back, I don't know about them. I mean, there's some in here, I mean,
Let's see. Oh, that's what I'm trying to figure out, okay.
yeah.
Where is
Yeah,
the
Roberta?
replacement for that window, so your replacement goes all the way up and what is your replacement? Review that one again.
Yes, our proposed replacement is
Goes all the way up.
articulated
I
arch.
see.
in
So
the
you
Yeah.
framed it.
And a
Glass.
tripart. With regard to the sort of interesting stained glass window, which is not original, is it possible to remove it and preserve it in some fashion? We don't have any history on it, I guess, at all, right?
Yes, we would like to preserve it. We discussed with Community Board 7 keeping it located in the building. That's something we'll investigate. If that doesn't work, we'll definitely investigate donating it to the Brooklyn Museum, for instance.
But it does appear to be able to be removed, you know.
The removal will be done with the utmost care. I believe it can be removed intact.
Thank you.
So what was the original window on that side, on the north side? Wasn't that multi-lighted, or was that?
We believe it looked something, based on the image that I showed you here for a different unit in the
Yeah.
back, we believe it looks something like this.
But you're not proposing?
We're not proposing the multi-lights, no.
And why not? So you're not doing the back, you're not trying to bring back the back? You're only trying to bring back the front? What?
The overall pattern of division,
Commissioner,
Yeah.
just so you know that, for staff level,
Uh-huh.
for secondary facades that are not visible from a public thoroughfare, the applicant can basically install any type of window they'd like. So we don't have a kind of, I guess, restriction on an applicant on the type of window that they put on a non-visible secondary rear facade. So they don't have to match the historic configuration.
Well, they don't have to do it anywhere. I mean, they're.
I think she's saying that that's, right, she's saying, I guess what Caroline's saying is that could be done at staff level. So, right, but the only reason why this is before us, Jared, do you want to just?
Yeah, it's
explain
because
that?
it's the removal of the special window,
Because of that window.
because of
Yeah.
that window.
Okay.
But you're looking to have as few mullions as possible, or as
Because
few
he's an artist.
lights as possible, just because it's an artist's studio, obviously, and others have more open
correct,
conditions.
the owner would like to get as much northern light as possible.
And I think you had that section that showed that you believe it was a tripartite type window that fit within this opening.
Yes, yeah. The plan actually showed the kind of the three divisions here, which we're following.
Interesting, conflicts with your image from the double-hung windows.
Yeah, because most of them are tripartite in the back at the moment.
Yeah, that's this window over here, which is a little bit smaller of an opening, but my guess is they would have.
Oh, it's not the same.
Three
The photograph of the
window.
window with the arch and the multi-light at the rear is not actually the window. It's you're extrapolating that it could have been something like that.
Exactly.
I see.
So the dimensions are
So
slightly
it's not
different.
the same, yeah.
Okay. All right, why don't we take testimonies? So Max Yeston.
This is quite something.
Max Yeston, Landmark West. The application concerns 27 West 67th Street, an Art Nouveau arts and crafts style studio building designed by Simonston and Sturgis and built in 1902-03, the first artist studio building completed on West 67th Street. It is located within the Upper West Side Central Park West Historic District, as well as the West 67th Street Artists Colony Historic District, which is listed on the state and national register. The Certificate of Appropriateness Committee wishes to comment on the application to replace one rear non-historic rectangular stained glass window with one classic artist studio clear glass window with the original arched articulation. The existing large stained glass window in the rear facade, which the applicant proposes to replace in its entirety, is not visible from any public street or vantage point. The window is not original to the artist's building nor integral to its design, and we support its replacement. The window is neither consistent with the original architect's design nor with other windows on the rear facade. We believe the proposed replacement is appropriate, and we encourage the Commission to support it. The applicant also proposes to replace a total of 6 windows on the front facade. 2 of these are non-historic fixed leaded casement windows, while 4 are totally inappropriate modern replacement windows installed prior to designation. All 6 will be replaced with multi-pane wood windows to conform to the building's original window design, a plan we believe best serves the building's historic facade. For the record, we find it deeply troubling that such intense scrutiny is being focused on a stained glass window that is not original to the studio building, not visible from the street, and not essential to its character, since the artist studios relied on maximizing natural light. And yet, exactly 1 week ago, this same commission voted 7-3 to remove stained glass windows at the First Church of Christ Scientist, windows that are original to the building, that are visible from not 1 but 2 main thoroughfares, and are integral to the building's identity. Vote to eliminate a church's original stained glass windows, and you may as well remove its steeple. Thank you.
Speaker is Arlene Simon, reading a statement.
I appreciate what Max has just said, and hopefully all has listened carefully. I am here as Arlene Simon. In December, I said I would not be speaking for Landmark West again, and I am not, but speaking for myself. I have been a resident of the building since 1969, and that, if we can believe it, I find it hard, is 45 years. There are 6 studio buildings on the block, and 27 was the first studio building that was built. We are incredibly proud of 67th Street, our buildings, our trees, and it's a great block, great buildings, and I think it's important for us to have the windows both in the front of the building that faces the street, the front facade, to have as many windows that are original to the as to the building. So I think I'm embarrassed to say that in the early 70s, do come and visit, hopefully the new co-op owner. My windows are terrible. So I can only say that hopefully no one ever will do that again. And hopefully the commission will make sure that the windows are properly put in, but the designation was in 1990, and my windows went in the 70s. So again, I do want to make sure that you know that Walter Melvin also has written a letter talking about how fussy Landmark West 67th Street is and 27 has been in the work that we've done in our building. And he talks about the fact, and I have a letter which I will submit, that talks about the fact that we took the opportunity provided by the scaffolding to reinstate brick gables at the street facade of the building, although such work was not required by the conditions. The facade, the gables, the cornice now match their original design for the first time in decades. And he goes on to say, I hope you will consider the owner's good stewardship of this beautiful building when you considering the proposal before you. Walter has worked in our building for the last 25 years, so he knows it well, and he knows that he has to contend with us who tend to be pretty strict on what we do in our building, knowing that we're landmarks. So I'm happy to answer my years of being at 27 with any questions that anyone might have, but I thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any more speakers? Yes.
Krista Belkoff for the Society for the Architecture of the City. I'd just like to say for the record that we support the Commission's policy of reviewing all removals of special windows. This is necessary as a citywide policy, and it should certainly not be changed because of disagreements about previous actions. Thank you.
Any more speakers on this item? Okay, Community Board 7 recommends approval of the 7 replacement windows. Do we have any questions for the applicant? All right, okay, we can close the hearing. Any issues with this? It seems that the applicant's made a very persuasive argument that they're bringing the windows back to its historic configuration. Any concerns? Okay, good. So, Diana, would you read that, please?
Yes, in the matter of a certificate of appropriateness, Borough of Manhattan, 166866, 27 West 67th Street, Upper West Side, Central Park West Historic District, Block 1120, Lot 14. Application is to replace windows. I recommend approval, finding that the leaded glass diamond pane windows at the front facade and the stained glass window at the non-visible rear facade are not original to the building, that their replacement with multi-light double-hung wood windows at the front facade will match the historic windows in terms of configuration, operation, materials, details, and finish. That these special windows were localized replacements and were not part of a significant redesign of the building, and that the proposed work will unify the fenestration and will enhance the special architectural and historic character of the Upper West Side, Central Park West Historic District.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this application is approved.